Mm. Narcotic. Medicine that promotes sleep, drowsiness, or insensibility. Nationalism. The bringing of the ownership and management of farms in the industries under state control. Nationality. The legal relationship attached to membership of a nation. Natural child. A legitimate child. Natural person. A human being as contrasted with an artificial person. Natural right. Rights conferred upon man by the natural law or basic rights found in civilized society. Naturalization. Process resulting in an alien receiving the status pertaining to a native citizen. Neglect. Culpable omission to perform a duty. Negotiable in relation to an instrument. It is the quality of being negotiated to reach a compromise or agreement. Neonate. Newborn child. Nepotism, a special favor by a person occupying high position in occupying high position to his relatives. Nervous shock, actual illness in the form physical symptoms, psychiatric illness. Next, friend, an adult to whom an infant or patient sues. Next of kin, generally one's nearest blood relation. Next of kin. Non-joint plea in abatement, which alleges that the plaintiff has failed to join in action all those who ought to have been parties. Non-joint plea in abatement, which alleged that the plaintiff has failed to join in action all those who ought to have been parties. Notary, usually solicitor who attest deeds. Notice, intimation, intelligence, warning, and observation. Notorious, a widely known criminal, a man with evil reputation. Noxal, referring to damage in ancient civil law caused by a slave or animal. Noxious, that which is offensive or which causes or tends to cause injury. Numismatic, the study of coins. Nursery, a place where young plants are grown. Oath, a solemn appeal, usually to God, to witness that some statement is true or that some promise is binding. Some statement is true or some is binding. Obligation, a duty usually legal or moral, and of one's choosing to undertake a course of action. Obsolete, a custom or word which is no longer in use. Occupier, one who has possession as owner or tenant of land or a house and has degree of control associated with his presence on the land or in the house. Octagon, a figure with 8 sides and 8 angles. Offense, an act or omission punishable under criminal law. Offer, proposal written or oral to give or do something. Oligarchy, government by few people. Ombudsman, parliamentary commissioner for administration. Ombudsman, parliamentary commissioner for administration. Omnipotent, one who is all powerful. Omnipresent, one who is present everywhere. Omniscient, one who knows everything. Effect, that which cannot be seen through. Operation, a disregard of essentials of justice. Optimist, a person who looks at brighter side of the thing. Orchard, a garden of fruits. Ordinance, a declaration by sovereign government made without parliament's consent. Orphan, a child whose parents are dead. Ostracized, to turn out of society. Oster, an act which wrongfully deprives a person of his freehold. Outlaw, a person deprived of the protection of law. Overdraft, bank loan allowing a customer's current account to go into debit. Pacifist, a person who does not believe in war. A person who does not believe in war and thinks that should be abolished. Panacea, a remedy for all ills. Pandemonium, scene of wild and noisy disorder. Pantomime, dramatic performance with dumb show. Dramatic performance with dumb show. Parasite, the one who depends on others. Parental, pertaining to parents. Partiality, a tendency to give an unfair judgment. Pro-sympathy, with one side. Patricide, a murder of one's own father. Patrimony, property inherited by a person from his ancestor, patrimony. Patriot, person who loves his country and is ready to sacrifice his life for his country. Pauper, person without means. Pedantic, a style in which a writer makes a display of his knowledge and learning rates academic learning above everything. Pedestrian, one who walks on foot. Pessimist, one who always looks at the dark side of a thing. Pharmacist, a person skilled in preparing medicine. Philanderer, a man who amuses himself by love making flirting. A man who amuses himself by love making or flirting. Philanthropist, a man who helps others in difficulty. Philatelist, collector of stamps. Phylogynist, a lover of womankind. Phylogynist, philology, science of nature, growth of words, language. Pioneer, one of the first persons to do anything, to go into country, to develop it. First a student of new branch of study. Plagiarism, theft of literary or research work of someone else and publish it in his own name. Platitude, common plea remark. Plutocracy, a government by rich and powerful class. Polyandry, marrying more than one husband at a time. Polygamy, having more than one wife at a time. Popular, one who is liked by everybody. Portable, easy to carry over long distance. Posthumous, a child born after death of his father. Postmortem, medical examination of dead body. Precedent, an earlier decision taken as an example. Predecessor, former holder of any office or position. Primogeniture, system of inheritance whereby preference was given to the eldest son and his issue. Prison, place of detention for those committed to custody under the law. Privilege, a special right or immunity conferred on some person or body. Probate, document issued under seal of court as official evidence of the authority of an executor. Prodigal, one who spends his money recklessly. Prologue, the introductory part of poem is prologue. Prostitute, a woman who offers the use of her body for sexual intercourse to anyone who pays for this. Proxy, one appointed with authority or power to act for another. Pseudonym, an imaginary name assumed by an author. Psychology, science of mind. Q. Quangos. Quasi-autonomous, non-governmental organization, generally carrying out regulatory or operational functions. Quarantine, period of isolation, originally 40 days, imposed on the ship and its traveler coming from a country in which serious infectious disease has spread. Quasi, having some resemblance to but lacking some requisite. Qua, in the capacity of question time, an hour of parliamentary time in which ministers answer MPs' questions relating to their responsibilities. Question time. Quorum, used to indicate the specified number of members of a body. Ransom, money paid for securing freedom of a captive. Rape, an offense under criminal law, that is illegal sexual intercourse with women, girl without her consent and with not lawfully married. Rashness, act done hastily without due consideration. Rebel, person who takes up arms against the established government. Recaption, the lawful taking of one's chattels for another who has wrongfully taken and detained them. Receipt, the written acknowledgement of goods or money received. Receiver, one appointed to enable a judgment. Creditor, to obtain payment of debt. Reciprocate, to give and take mutually. Recital, part of a deed of conveyance or sale stating history of property to be conveyed. Red tapeism, too much attention to rules and regulations by civil servants. Refugee, person escaped to foreign country from religious or political persecution. Regicide, the killing of an imperial power or a king. Relator, private person at a whose suggestion and action commenced by the Attorney General. Relay, to broadcast something. Remainder, a residue of an estate depending upon a particular estate and rated together with same at one time. Remand, to dispose of the person or an individual charged with crime. The example on the adjournment of hearing, remote, something which is very distant, rent, periodic payment made by the tenant or other occupier of the land or the owner of its possession and use, renunciation, intentional abandonment of right, repeal to express or implied abrogation of one statute by latter act, deprive, formal suspension of execution of suspense, formal suspension of execution of sentence, repudiation, refusal to be bound by a contract, repugnance, inconsistency of two or more provisions in a deed or other document, resile, to withdraw from an agreement, reticule, LED for retrospective, a glance at the past events, revenue, income, income, yield of taxes, return on investment, revocation, an act by which one annuls something he has done, sabotage, malicious destruction of or damage to the property so as to harm the business or military potential of the state, sacrilege, an offense consisting of breaking and entering and committing a felony in any place of divine worship. That is, person who draws amusement by inflicting cruelty on others. Salvage, reward to persons who save or assist in saving a ship, cargo of freight from shipwreck or similar jeopardy. Skeptic, a person who doubts the truth of a particular claim. Cynic, sedition, the publication, orally or in writing, of words intended to bring into hatred or contempt or to excite disaffection against the authority of a state's executive. Seduction, persuasion to disobedience, illicit sexual intercourse. Sentence, punishment or penalty imposed by court on a person. Servitude, right over another's property. Slavery, settler, one who makes a settlement of his property. Simultaneous, two or more things occurring at the same time. Sinecure, an office to whom high salary is paid for little or no work or responsibility. Slander, a spoken word, gestures which amount to tort of defamation. Smuggling, illegal export or import of merchandise. Soliloquy, speech in which a character speaks to himself, his thoughts on a stage. Somnambulist, one who walks in sleep. Somniloquist, one who talks in sleep. Sovereign, the supreme ruler of the state. Supreme ruler of the state. Spokesman, one who speaks for others. Stadium, an enclosed area used for games. Stoic, person who knows the philosophy of pain and pleasure and therefore takes both in the same way. Stranger, one who is not privy or party to an act. Studio, a place where artists work. Subornation, the procuring of person to commit a criminal act. Subrogation, substitute of one party for another as a creditor. Subsidy, payment by the state, producers or distributors intended to reduce prices paid by consumers. Substitute, a person or a thing taking the place of another. Succession, process of becoming entitled to property of deceased by the operation of law. Sue, to seek justice by process of law. Sue मतलब to seek justice by process of law. Suffrage, right or privilege to vote in an election. Suicide, the taking of one's own life intentionally and voluntarily. Suitor, one who is party to a suit, summons a citation to appear before a judge or magistrate. Superfluous, more than is needed. To rejoinder, answer by plaintiff to a rejoinder by the defendant. To rejoinder, answer by the plaintiff to a rejoinder by the defendant. Surrogate, pointed at in place of another. Survey, skilled examination of land dwelling. Syndicate, combination of firms or individuals for promotion of common interest.